"I must sojourn in Paris," I told the folk back home, to think about my work, which they readily assumed were one and the same thing. I came to paint, which happens occasionally, but now I'm in a man's bed and he won't let me near the paintbrushes. "I've been with artists before," he said, frisking me for my sketchbook as I tried to step over the threshold. I waited until our 7th night together, when the waning moon was at precisely the right curvature to slip into his back like a hammock. I drew him with a stick of coal I found on the dressing table, but as I smudged his contours, the moon got thinner and thinner until it soaked entirely into the skin, and I was left to stumble my way back to bed in the dark. It wasn't the guilty look on my face or the fact that I wasn't itching anymore. It wasn't even his inability to find his glass of water on the nightstand in the exceptional darkness. It was the black fingerprints all over the white bedsheets that gave me away as we rose for coffee in the morning. The trees here come in colonnades, even in the parks, and the blossoms are rationed onto their spindly trunks with such consideration that it's as if they know the dangers of having too much air. I've often seen, on a Friday afternoon, girls pluck a tree to use as a parasol or to place in the pocket of her beau's dinner jacket when he isn't looking. I once found them perfectly novel. Now they ruin compositions. And people laugh so emphatically, even at breakfast time. Fingers are snapped more loudly, heads are tilted at a more offensive angle. The graffiti isn't as rude. What is it for, all this gesticulating? Does every Parisian have a poem to write? Do they carry canvases in their handbags? Perhaps they're laughing at me, sitting with a coffee and a solemn stroke of the chin at the table furthest from the window, trying not to be distracted by the predictability of the trees. Perhaps I'm the villain of their stories. Were the pastries fetal before I walked in, before I fingered the glass with my smutty hands? In my early days, when I was full of ideas, he would pose for me naked, perched on the banister or wrapped up in curtains. I wondered if he could balance the dog on his head, or eat a banana in reverse, or rest a teapot upon a single sunflower, and whether he will smell the lack of paint as I walk through the door and catch him doing none of these things. I am coming home to you as dramatically as I can. Buildings crumble underfoot like pigments, and someone with too much faith is pealing his church bells. This trampled city possesses a charm now. I want to climb inside the parts of the Eiffel Tower I've been too unfit to reach and press my cheek against the iron of a burning civilization. I want to play dead with the trees, and I want to dine in collapsed restaurants among the roaches. The rose is yellowing in my hands. Somewhere deep within, below the petals that are soft and ones that have bent into themselves, a flame rekindled is pacing up and down the filaments to keep warm. Thank you.